In a previous video, we looked at something called the consumer surplus, which is the additional benefit a consumer receives from purchasing a product at a given price. In this video, we will look at the producer surplus, the additional benefit that a producer receives from selling a good at a particular price. The producer surplus is the difference between the amount of money a producer is willing to sell a good and the actual amount of the money that the producer actually receives. The producer surplus is actually an additional benefit that the producer gets for free. Let's look at an example. An electronics firm sells big screen television sets. The firm is willing to sell its TVs for $100 a piece. However, the market price for the TVs is $500. What is the firm's producer surplus? The producer surplus is equal to the actual amount of the price of the TV minus what the price that the firm was willing to sell. In our case, the actual price of the sale was $500 and the firm was willing to sell it for $100, giving a producer surplus of $400. Let's look at a graphical representation of the producer surplus. Let's look at the situation on the graph. Before starting on the economics of the graph, let's take a minute to review the graph. The horizontal axis represents the quantity of the good, and the quantity of the good increases as one moves from left to right. The vertical axis represents the price, and as one moves from bottom to top, the price increases. Also notice that the demand curve is downward sloping. Also remember that unlike previous demand curves you may have encountered, this one crosses the price axis at $1,000. The $1,000 represents the maximum amount that somebody is willing to pay for a high-definition television set. Finally, the market price is $500. Suppose a firm, Best Value, is willing to accept $100 for the HD TV, and the TV has an equilibrium price or a market price of $500. This means that Best Value receives an additional benefit of $400 for the TV. Suppose XZY appliance store accepts $200 for an HD TV. Its producer surplus will be the difference between the equilibrium price, $500, and the price that the producer was willing to accept, $2, or $300. Colleen's Electronics is willing to accept $350 for a TV, but receives $500. So the firm's producer surplus is the difference between what the store was willing to accept, $350, and the equilibrium price of $500, or $150. The total surplus of the producers is found by adding the producer surpluses of all the firms together. Economists see the entire area bounded by the equilibrium price, 0, and the equilibrium quantity as being the producer's surplus. The way an economist would represent the producer's surplus is the area between 0, the equilibrium price, PE, and the equilibrium quantity, QE. You may notice that the producer surplus is a triangle. As you may know, the area of a triangle is given by the formula base, represented by the letter B, times the height, represented by the letter H, times 1/2 or 0.5. The formula is often written as B times H times 1/2. The base of the triangle is the distance between 0 and the equilibrium point. The height of the triangle is the equilibrium price. Since the base is the distance from 0 to the equilibrium point, the base is 5 units in our example, and we will substitute 5 into the formula for B. Since the height is the equilibrium price, and the equilibrium price is $500, $500 will be substituted into the formula for the height. Next, multiply the base 5 times the height, 500, which gives $2,500. Next, multiply $250 by 0.5, which gives a consumer surplus of $1,250. Here's a graph with both the producer and consumer surplus on it. The red area represents the consumer surplus, the blue area represents the producer surplus. In the next video, we'll examine why price floors and price ceilings hurt either the consumer or the producer.